Gone are the days where, people were only worried about weapons, bombs, terrorists, drugs, and then I didn't have to worry. If I was traveling, I had none of those things. So I could just, mind my business and travel. But now you're traveling with a potential threat. I could be carrying a virus. I could be carrying a deadly virus. So with that new awareness, it kind of puts a lot of stress on you. And then you have to do so many tests and tests. I feel like I've done so many PCR tests in the last couple of days, weeks. I feel like my nose has gotten bigger. I'm sure you have seen the title of today's video and you already know what I'm about to talk about. From my last video where I shared my dad's birthday, I said I was going to share what you should know if you need to travel during a pandemic. So if you haven't seen that video, kindly check it out as well. But let's finish this one first. So I'll get straight to the point. In today's video, I'll be sharing the details you need to know if you have to travel during a pandemic. Now, traveling on a normal day can be pretty stressful. It can be hectic. But guys, traveling during a pandemic, I feel like I was more stressed mentally than, physically. It was more of a mental stress because now the requirements are so much more. Gone are the days where, people were only worried about weapons, bombs, terrorists, drugs, and then I didn't have to worry. If I was traveling, I had none of those things. So I could just, mind my business and travel. But now you're traveling with a potential threat. I could be carrying a virus. I could be carrying a deadly virus. So with that new awareness, it kind of puts a lot of stress on you. And then you have to do so many tests and tests. I feel like I've done so many PCR tests in the last couple of days, weeks. I feel like my nose has gotten bigger. I'm just kidding, but yeah, it may have really, because they're poking your nose, poking your throat. And guys, I think the worst part for me was having to put the swab. I'm sorry, guys, this is very graphic for some people, but having to put the same swab I put in my throat and put it in my nose. In the UK, they make you do that, and that really isn't cool. So yeah, okay, yeah, so I'll just share the details and I hope someone really finds this useful. First thing you need to know if you are traveling or planning to travel out of the UK is you need to find out about the country you're going to. Are they accepting people from the UK? Are they accepting UK nationals and UK residents? Because it's one thing to want to travel. Is UK on their red list as well? Because yes, in the UK we have this traffic light signal for the countries, but you need to find out if the countries you are going to, or the country or countries you're going to, if they're accepting people from the UK. So once you find out if you can travel to this country or countries, then you need to find out what list the country falls under. Is this country on the red, the amber, or the green list? Now for this video, I'll be more specific about the amber because I traveled to Nigeria and Nigeria is currently, as of today, on the amber list. Things can change really because some countries that were on amber when I traveled are currently on red. And just like that, and you need to really know what's going on because you don't want to travel and then get to your country or wherever you are and find out that your country has been moved from amber to red. Like, you can still travel, it just means more things are expected of you, and then basically more stress. So yeah, you need to make sure, like, traveling now, you need to like watch the news every second of the day because anything can change just like that. So now after you have done that, if you have determined where your country falls under, then you can now go ahead and book your flight, hopefully. But while you're doing that, you need to be aware that PCR COVID tests will be required of you like everywhere. So before you go, 72 hours before your flight, you need to take a COVID test. It's really close, so it's kind of scary because many of these test laboratories, they're like money-making factories these days. Everybody's making money off you, to be honest, even in the UK. Although I'm aware the cost of the test have been reduced lately. I heard something like that in the news. But still, it's something that you should know that it's an additional cost you need to plan for. Once you have done your COVID test, in our case, I wasn't aware that I didn't need to do a COVID test for my daughter. So if you're traveling to Nigeria and some countries, you need to find out the country really. You don't need to do a COVID test for children less than 10 years of age. But I didn't know. I went to waste money and I booked tests for, 3 of us. That reminds me, they haven't refunded my money. So in this video, I'll be more specific about Nigeria. Other countries have their own guidelines and rules. So please find out what it is before you travel. But for the UK, what they really require of you is for you to take the test before you go, 72 hours before you go. Also, there's a list of government-approved laboratories where you can take your PCR. So there are many, really. You can go just search online and you'll find them, but make sure they are government-approved. I'll put the link for the government-approved ones. I used one of them, and yeah, that was how we took our test. Another thing I should mention is you need to find out what the rule is about isolating where you are going. So for Nigeria, you need to isolate for 7 days when you get to Nigeria. That's the current rule. And I'm smiling. Don't ask me if I isolated or quarantined or whatever it's called. But yeah, that was the rule for Nigeria. So you need to consider that when you're booking your trip, so it works for you. Because when you get to Nigeria, after 7 days, you then have to take another COVID test. So you isolate for 7 days, and then you take a COVID test on the 7th day for Nigeria. Currently, there's a form that you have to fill before you even board the plane. Like, you have to show them the form. So I think it's called the Online National Travel Portal. And that form requires that everyone fills it. And you have to, that's where you now update, upload your COVID results. So you fill the form, you put your information, where you're going to, where you are staying, who you're staying with, everything. And then you make sure that they'll ask you about your COVID test, the lab, the date, everything. You have to put it on that form, and then you submit it. I should mention, children are also required to fill this form. However, children less than 10 years old do not need to take a COVID test. All right, but they still have to fill the form, because what happened was, I saw it happen to a couple of people. They were at the airport. They were like, "Oh, I've done it. My husband has done it." And then the children, "Oh, we didn't fill any form for them." And they were like, "Oh no, you have to fill the form. It has to generate like a QR code for everybody." So even if they are children, once you put like, oh, the child's age, it doesn't ask you for more details. So if you are going to Nigeria, this is for you. Make sure you fill that form, you upload your negative COVID test, and fill for your children. They don't have to take a COVID test if they are less than 10 years old. I feel like a newscaster, but I'm hoping that this helps somebody, really, because for us, we didn't know we were about to get to that point. And then I remembered someone had mentioned it, and I told my husband, I think we have to fill a form for my daughter, even though she's just 3 years old. But it was like, oh, we didn't do a COVID test, which we didn't even know. We had paid for a COVID test for 3 of us, which I didn't need to. It was just for myself and my husband. And even if you're coming back to the UK, children less than 10 years old do not require a COVID test if you are coming back to the UK. But I think it also still depends on what part of the world you are coming from. But as far as I know, from amber and from green, you don't require a COVID test for children less than 10 years old. So yeah, let me go back to where I was. So yeah, make sure you fill the online form if you're going to Nigeria. If not, you cannot even board the plane, and then it generates a code and all that stuff, and then you can board your plane. So yeah, that's it if you're going. And then if you're coming back, this is the other part that you should know. If you're coming back, there are some things that are required of you. Once again, like I said, nobody's really checking if you have guns or drugs. Everyone wants to make sure that you are COVID negative. They want to make sure you're not carrying something more deadly than guns. COVID-19 virus, COVID. So yeah, if you're coming back, the UK requires you to fill a passenger locator form within 48 hours. Now, that passenger locator form is also almost similar, not similar, but it's just like, oh, before you go into the UK, you have to fill that form. You have to put your COVID results as well. It's to ask you for where you are going, everything about you, basically, so that they can locate you. So we did our COVID test. We put up all the details on the passenger locator form. Now, another thing that you should have, that I would advise that you have before you make any trip, is to be doubly vaccinated, because really that's like your freeway ticket. If you are doubly vaccinated, it does make life easy for you regarding traveling. So if you have had both vaccines, then on July 19, 2021, that's my birthday. That was like a perfect birthday gift for me, because I was already planning this trip, getting all worked up and stressed out, and thinking about all the money we have to spend, because if you go, you have to do COVID test. When you get to Nigeria, you have to do another COVID test. And then when you are coming back, you have to do more COVID tests on day 2 and day 8. But on July the 19th, my birthday, the rules were changed in my favor. I'm making this personal because at that moment it felt really personal. It felt like, oh my god, this is the best news I can get. So on July 19th, it was Boris announced that, or whoever it was, announced that if you've been doubly vaccinated, that you don't have to, isolate for 10 days anymore. You just have to take one test, not two. So you don't have to take day 8. You just have to take day 2 test, which was the best news I heard during that time. It was really amazing. So we didn't have to pay for both tests. So but before you leave Nigeria, if you are returning to the UK or wherever you are, after you fill the passenger locator form, you also have to book your test, that day 2 test. Now, if you're Amber, I hope I'm not confusing you guys. What you have to do is take your test within 72 hours. After you have taken your test, make sure you get the passenger locator form online, fill the form, put your test details. Also, you have to book your day 2 test. You don't need a day 8 test anymore if you've had both vaccines. If you haven't had both vaccines, then you still need a day 2 and a day 8, and you still need to isolate for 10 days. You can see what I'm talking about. So if you've had your vaccine, 2 vaccines, you only need a day 2. Once you book your day 2, you fill the details on that same form, passenger locator form, and you are practically good to go. That's like what is required of you. And like I said, for children less than 10 as well, you don't need to do a COVID test for them, but you also have to put them in your form. You have to mention them in that form so that their details are also taken down. So once you've gotten all that, you need to make sure you show these things. They will ask for it. It's like, I can't remember how many times, like I can't count how many times they asked us, especially when we're leaving Nigeria. It got so annoying. Where's your passenger locator form? Where's your COVID-19 results? Where's your have you had both vaccines? Yes. Where's your vaccine? It was almost as if you've not had both vaccines, you can't even travel. We showed them the proof of vaccination, apart from the travel documents and all. So it just went on and on. We were just displaying. For us, we didn't have to print it. We just, my husband, he put everything in one file on his phone, and then they were just showing it to them. This is mine, this is my daughter, this is my wife, this is, and we kept on doing that all through. Eventually got on the plane, hallelujah. It felt like, oh my god, when are we going to leave this place? Nobody was even like, oh, what are you carrying? It was more of, oh yeah, in Nigeria there was the usual, what do you have for us? But apart from that, it was just the same questions over proof of vaccination, passenger locator form, COVID-19 test results. Everything has to be within that 72 hours before you travel. So yeah, that was pretty much it. I think my overall advice would be that before you travel, just make sure you keep up with the news and find out what's going on in the countries that you're traveling to. But if you're traveling to any amber country, these are the rules so far, but find out what the rules are and the guidelines for the country that you're traveling to. I hope you have found this really helpful and useful. If you have, kindly like my video, subscribe to my channel. I share videos on lifestyle and career tips for immigrants and health workers living and moving to the UK. Pause. Till next time, bye.